What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? I'm Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we are going to be talking about 10 Lives of Wolverine, number 3 by Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara. And in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not the things that Wolverine has done now that he's traveled to the past have already affected the current timeline in the form of things we've already seen. We're also going to talk about what happens when or if Wolverine does kill an Omega Red possessed Itsu. More importantly, we're also going to talk about how Omega Red is able to time travel and what are the limits of his ability to control other people's bodies, and what surprise character makes the fight between Wolverine and Omega Itsu a three-way dance. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, hit that subscribe button. I post multiple videos throughout the week, plus live stream the Blerd Cave every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So hit that bell button. That way you don't miss anything. Also, if you enjoy the video, Hulk smash that like button. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about 10 Lives of Wolverine, number 3.
Can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is whether or not the things that Wolverine has been doing since he traveled back in time, are they affecting the current timeline? Have we already seen some of the changes that are going on right now? I'm going to say that the answer is very likely yes. We actually talked about this in the previous video I did for 10 Lives and 10 Deaths of Wolverine, both the number 2 issues for the respective series. We talked about whether or not we've already seen Wolverine's quantum leap actions bearing fruit, whether or not his actions in Colombia had something to do with sparking or maybe possibly reigniting the rivalry between himself and Sabretooth. And even Wolverine himself is kind of musing about whether or not this may or may not be the case. Why does Sabretooth hate him so much? Now, of course, we know their enmity actually goes back maybe even further than this, but the truth of the matter is maybe some of the things that are happening right now, maybe the actions that he's taking, we've already seen the consequences of them because the way time moves, it's not just a straight line, it's very fluid and sometimes even circular, depending on the storyteller at the time. Once again, going back to things that may or may not have affected what's going on right now, we actually used Maverick as an example in the current Benjamin Percy run on Wolverine. Maverick has been unusually, and I would even dare say uncharacteristically, aggro towards Wolverine in that series, something that just kind of seemed strange and unusual, because typically Wolverine and Maverick, while they may not be the best of bosom buddies all the time, they're usually not that antagonistic towards one another, but Maverick seems to have a very particular bit of beef with Wolverine this time around, and something tells me it has to do with the actions that took place in 10 Lives of Wolverine number 2. It makes things even more interesting when we discover Omega Red possessed Itsu, Wolverine's wife and the mother of Daken. Now we know if Wolverine were to somehow accidentally or even intentionally kill Itsu, regardless of whether or not she is possessed by Omega Red, we know that this is going to result in Daken being potentially erased. But one of the things that comes up is that what if they could prevent that? What if they could prevent any fluctuations that could potentially result from Wolverine doing something in the past that runs anomalous with whatever it is that's going on in the current timeline? We discovered both Jean Grey and Professor Xavier, they believe that if they were to back up Daken in a Cerebro and then place that Cerebro inside of a black hole, that would prevent Daken's backup from being destroyed, corrupted. It would probably erase Daken from the timeline, but they would still be able to bring him back somehow. This is a theory that, for one, they don't have time to test because in the heat of the moment right now, Omega Itsu and Wolverine are doing battle with one another. They don't have time to hunt down a singularity to put this to the test, but they do point out later on in one of the data pages that this is something they're seriously going to consider for any kind of future time travel shenanigans, that they will be prepared, and anyone who's doing doing any time traveling or anyone who's connected to any time traveling or anyone who could possibly be affected by any time travel shenanigans, they will place their backups in a Cerebro inside of a black hole to prevent them from being completely erased from the timeline. This is actually probably something Charles Xavier wishes he thought of before all of this, so that way that Omega Red wouldn't be able to wipe him from the timeline as well. Speaking of anomalies and things of that nature and how these things are connected, that is the thing that happens with Omega Itsu and Wolverine. Omega Itsu thinks, Wolverine doesn't have to kill me, I could just kill myself, but something actually stops Omega Itsu from doing that, and it's technically two different things. One is the introduction of a new character, and the second is a new idea that would further help Omega Red complete his mission of assassinating Charles Xavier and wiping Krakoa as we know it from the entirety of existence. The thing that interrupts this action is the introduction of Romulus. This is a character who, depending on how you feel about Wolverine's retconned past and how it's been retconned multiple times, Romulus is an antagonist of Wolverine who's kind of been, I guess, in ways that like Sabretooth used to be kind of like the architect behind all of the things that used to plague Wolverine. Romulus is even bigger than that, and I'm not the hugest fan of the character, but I did find it interesting that Romulus was introduced into this story arc. Now, we did actually talk about last week when we did the video for 10 Lives and 10 Deaths of Wolverine, we actually talked about how this was all connected, how it was all callback to Wolverine number 40 from back in 2003, how Romulus had sent the Winter Soldier to kill Itsu. Now we're actually witnessing all of this stuff play out. This is all stuff that was actually supposed to happen, but maybe Wolverine doing the things that he's done, he may have inadvertently set all this up. Wolverine actually might be the reason why Romulus went so far as to hire the Winter Soldier to kill Itsu, because maybe originally, possibly, Romulus was supposed to be successful here, but the way things actually played out in that Wolverine series, how we were introduced to Doc and how Romulus was the one who took Daken from Itsu's womb after she was killed, maybe that was not the way originally things were supposed to go. It's very possible that Daken never existed in the first place, but Wolverine doing things the way that he did may have actually bought Daken time, and that's why the Winter Soldier got involved in all this. I'm not saying that's actually what's happening here, but that's what it kind of seems like they're going for, that all of the things that we've seen, these are things that are the direct result in all of Wolverine's weird past and how it's always been retconned and how nothing made sense up until maybe about 20 years ago. All of that is now being kind of in a roundabout way explained by way of 10 Lives of Wolverine. But needless to say, Wolverine does send Romulus packing, and Omega Red just kind of lets go of Itsu. And it's very strange why this is the case, but there's a good reason for this, and we're gonna get to that here in a second. But the first thing I want to talk about is, why is Omega Red able to time travel? Why is he able to jump from body to body? Now, this is actually a direct result of not just Mikhail Rasputin, but also some kind of effect of the Cerebro Sword. There's something about the Cerebro Sword that allows them to affect time travel. We see Mikhail Rasputin use the Cerebro Sword, plunging it into Omega Red's heart, and that's when he's actually able to send him into the past, even going as far as to say that, yeah, this is the moment we write history. Now, one of the things we do see happen in this is that the carbonadium synthesizer, something about it, Mikhail Rasputin is able to manipulate. There's a point where he opens up Omega Red and seemingly siphons some of the energy off of it. So in some weird way, and I don't know, maybe this is Benjamin Percy's way of explaining how Mikhail Rasputin was able to do this, to make time travel possible, in an unconventional style way, but somehow this is how it works. Now, Omega Red, of course, as we learned in the last issue, he knows everything. He knows that Krakoa has used him. They've killed him. They've resurrected him. They planted a bug on his carbonadium synthesizer. And of course, Omega Red knows that they could have just as easily made it to where he didn't even need it. Omega Red has big beef with Krakoa right now, so he doesn't care. He wants to end this just as much as Mikhail Rasputin does. But the thing that I thought was interesting is, what is the limit of Omega Red's ability to body jump? Like, it seemed like, he could just jump into whatever body humanly possible. But we do later learn he can take over animals as well. He even takes over a white whale. Or it's probably a regular whale, but because Omega Red took it over, it becomes a white whale. It's, you get the idea. Point of the matter is, his ability to take over things is not just limited to people. And yes, we do learn that the Xavier that he was trying to kill back in 1900 was in fact Benedict Xavier, who is very likely, if I'm not mistaken, the father of Xavier's actual dad, Brian Xavier. But in this case, he is once again unsuccessful. So he has decided to use his ability to body jump in a new way. This is why he let Itsu go. He could have hurt Wolverine in so many ways by forcing Wolverine to kill Itsu, thus wiping his son from existence. However, he wants to do something that he knows will hurt Wolverine just as much. If Wolverine is going to sit here and try and stop him from killing Charles Xavier, from wiping him from existence and getting rid of Krakoa, what could hurt Wolverine more? And it's going to sound weird to say this, but the thing that could destroy Wolverine is not only just wiping his son from existence, but also making Wolverine the weapon to kill Charles Xavier. This would actually destroy Wolverine, not because he loves Charles Xavier more than Daken, but because this is his mission. This is the thing that he's been risking it all for. And if he were somehow used in such a way to end the very person that he's been trying to protect all this time, Wolverine would be very devastated by it. And not only that, but this would also get rid of Krakoa, and this would also get Omega Red his ultimate revenge. And then he'll probably still go back and wipe Daken from the face of existence as well. And he'll probably make sure that he hurts all the other people that are close to Wolverine. He'll probably wipe everyone that Wolverine has ever cared about off the face of the space-time continuum. And he has the ability to do it, which makes it even more scary. But this last shot is definitely everything that I give a shit about when it comes to stuff like this for Wolverine. Wolverine actually looks incredibly terrifying. He looks almost zombified because his skin is turned as pale as Omega Red. He still has the bone claws, and he even has the bone tentacles and the Omega symbol on his forehead kind of like etched in some kind of weird red light like all the other people have had. So it makes me wonder, how are they going to fix this? Wolverine is already here, so clearly Wolverine is not going to be able to stop himself. Is Jean going to have to step in? Is she going to have to astrally project herself even further into this fight to try and stop him? Or are they going to have to try and send somebody else in? Like, they can't grab Daken. Daken can't jump into a body and then, save the day all of a sudden. It makes me wonder exactly what is going to be the move. I wonder, part of me wonders if maybe, I don't think they'll get Sabretooth, because Sabretooth is clearly, he's around, but I don't know, I just don't feel like it'll be Sabretooth. I'm wondering who it is that they'll try and get, like maybe is Charles Xavier going to send himself back and put himself in the body of his younger self? Is that how they're going to do it? Hard to say. But anyways, let me know what you thought about 10 Lives of Wolverine number 3. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.